Man, welcome back to the upbringing, you guys. Man, it's been a while. Today we're gonna talk about the man's mental health, which is what it is man's mental health month this month. So that man, that's something that man just is, which is great because man just struggle with mental health just in general when it comes to depression, substance abuse, and things like that regardless of what is specifically what they're dealing with and things like that. But man, we're gonna touch on it a little bit today. Uh Man, Justin, because this is about men's health and stuff like that, I want to ask you a question, man. And Ebony too, because I'm sure that you see certain things that with Justin that maybe he doesn't see that you might see versus what he might see. What are some things that like? What are some triggers for Justin as a man when it comes to like to say if it's a serious conversation? Let's just say you guys are having a let's say you guys are having a disagreement. I wouldn't say argument. Let's say disagreement. You guys are having a disagreement. She has a certain opinion. You have a certain opinion. Justin is or Ebony, does Justin happen to shut down or does he happen to be defensive versus being open minded or being an open ear versus being defensive? Like what is he? Is he a more defensive person or is he more of an open person? Like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. Let's have a conversation of why I feel the way I feel versus where the way you think that I think the way I think. Does that make sense?
You want him to answer that first, or you want me to answer?
That's what I want you to answer first, and then we'll have Ebony answer that.
Mm.
I already know what he gonna say.
No, I think I don't have. I'm not the person that has the issue in our relationship when it comes to communicating. I don't have a problem at all with talking. I think that sometimes I'm over transparent. I over talk. So I could see getting defensive at times probably, but for the most part, no. I would say that I get upset and I get angry. But so I can't say level headed. That's not the right term I should use. But I will say that I actually do try to put myself in a position of seeing something from someone else's point of view. Now with this looks she's giving, that must not be the case for her.
Yeah, I kind of figured that's where his answer was gonna go, but I think it's actually, I won't say totally different, but there, I don't think he's as open in conversation as he is now. Communication, yes, he does communicate or whatever.
Well,
Is it
what you're saying is,
communication? No.
It's not
in
effective.
terms of detail, he lacks. Is what you're saying, basically.
Huh?
So what you're saying is basically when it comes to details, specific details, is what you're saying that he lacks at.
Um, at times, but I'm saying more so when if there's a disagreement that's going on, he's not as open to receive another person's point of view.
Mm.
Um, he feels that he is. It's more so. I feel this way, and I'm trying to drill it into you for you to feel this way, to understand why I feel this way, and you need to get it, and that's it. You need to understand that, and that's pretty much it.
I don't know.
But
You may be right.
no, I am. Uh,
Now that's certain.
I can understand that to a certain extent. The reason why I say that is because when I was in my previous relationship, like, man, I first thing, boom, I'll be defensive, automatic. That's just what was in my mind. Just I say, I'm gonna say this. I don't say this because this is the current time. This is because this is my mindset at the time. Before then, before then, I always felt like I had to defend myself just because the way I came about. It was it was one of those things like what happens here stays here. I'm sure I don't know if you guys ever heard that saying and stuff like that, but I've heard that my entire life. Whatever happens here stays here. So I've always had that mindset, just like whatever happens here stays here. So when it came to communication, to expressing how I felt, like depending on what the situation was or what the matter was, like I didn't express it. I was just like, oh, it's all good. Don't worry about it. Versus as I got to learn how things should be, there were certain things depending on how I really felt about the situation, I should have expressed that to who I was with at the time. Just to one thing that I've noticed with men is like we are so used to suppressing our emotions and our feelings, which is the worst thing that anybody can do. But because generation after generation after generation after generation is always taught the same thing, as in you're a man, so you don't you shouldn't cry, you shouldn't shouldn't show sympathy, empathy, or those type of things, as in just expressing yourself. Like how is your partner or your wife or whatever supposed to understand you if you can't express yourself? God talks a lot about a man and woman becoming one. You can't become, quote unquote, when you get married, you're one, but how can you truly become one if one person is holding back and the other person is expressing themselves all the way to the end? When men and ourselves were originally taught to think, so how you say, single vision, versus being so open to the point to where like we can understand where our woman, which is versus, or I would say our partner, who is supposed to be the person who gives us the supposed to help us grow, since we are in the in the flow of becoming better, and growth and entrepreneurs and stuff like that. We need that partner to help. Even though, let's just say Justin, for example, let's just say you, for example, you're already making $10 million, right? For example, right? Let's say Ebony comes into the picture. Mm-hmm. She's got certain ideas that you would never come up with. That she's got certain ideas that you'll never come up with, because she's got that different mindset. Just because I don't care what anybody says between gender and gender. Certain gender, like men, we think a certain way. Women, they think a certain way. This is like, in general, like God purposely put men and women to have certain roles, right? When it comes to the relationship or personal. But like,
I don't know if I agree. I'm listening. I'm definitely listening, but I'm not sure I agree.
Let's just say you make $10 million, but Ebony can help you make double that, if not triple that. Mm-hmm. Essentially, like that's the idea of when having a wife, or I wasn't even just having a partner right there and there to help you grow when it comes to when you start having kids, or when you just want to get to a certain level. Like, you have that support. It's the whole point is to have that support and to help you, give you ideas so that you can grow, and the more you grow, the more you can provide for her and the kids or the family, and etc. What do you mean that you don't agree, specifically? What do you mean? You
I
know,
think he was saying in the roles, but I do
Yeah.
agree with the role.
because if we was so equal,
Hold on, real quick.
We're
Dog
more
said-
nurturers.
Yeah.
Yeah, man can nurture. However, it's not the same as a woman nurturing.
No, I guess I agree.
think
I
that's
agree
what-
with that, but
But that's
the part
that is
where
a part of a role.
I think there's a couple fallacies here, man. There's a couple fallacies, and I was just listening. But the thinking differently, that's not necessarily true. You know what I'm saying? I don't think a lot of people. Okay, it's just like when me and you have a conversation, and you say a lot of people say women are emotional, and men don't act off of emotional. We don't think that way. We're not wired that way. That's not true at all. The majority of the people that I see acting off of emotion are men, not women. So that's some false advertisement, bro. That's totally
actually, like I feel the same way. I feel like when we react, they feel like we're being emotionless, but that's our emotion. But we don't have any other way of us expressing it because we was never taught that way. We was always like. I'm sorry. Just as an example, personally, like as I was growing up, I was taught to be this, just still like always strong, never showing emotions and stuff like that. Versus when, of course, like just naturally, women are more emotional than men. Yeah, for sure. But at the same time, men have emotions too, and I feel like a lot of people fail to I would say put a scope on that because like this as I understand we're supposed to be leaders, but we also need that support from other people so that we can carry on like we're supposed to as men. Because our role in general is to lead, and if we don't have the support that we need, how are we supposed to lead if we don't have the support that we need in order to lead? From other men. I'm not saying from just I'm not saying gender specifically. I'm just saying from people in general. Like I just feel like men in general, like we just get thrown to the bottom as emotion people because we expect men to be emotionless. But at the same time, women want our men to have some type of emotion so that when they express themselves, whatever the woman has going on, like a man can have something emotionally or have some type of sympathy and empathy to correlate. That's how you build a relationship in general when you come just in people in general. It has nothing to do with, I feel like at a certain point, it has nothing to do with gender. It has to do from one person to another person.
okay. You lost me, man.
So, like for example, let's just say, for example, you and me, you say, for example, you and Ebony are going through something. You come to me, like, look, man, me and Ebony, we going through this situation, whatever. You come to me for advice. You come to me for sympathy. You're coming to me to encourage you. You're coming to me to help you through your situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is, for example, right?
Okay.
If I have the right mindset, as in to help you grow as a man, as to being a leader, I can point you to the right direction versus somebody who doesn't have necessarily the right mindset. They'll be like, oh, I don't know, just figure it out or whatever, instead of actually giving you some pointers versus somebody else who doesn't have any ideas. Just like, just make her happy.
Because they've been taught nothing but
Happy wife, happy life.
I feel like when you suppress emotions, whether you're men or female, it does alter the way that you think. It changes your thinking logically. I think even in a sense of sensibility, because you have to switch your mind to say, okay, well, I have to bottle this up. I can't deal with this. So therefore, I have to express this or not express this in a totally different way.
Okay.
And some people resort to acting out because now I have to suppress this. Some people are just overly. Okay, I'm not hit on that subject, but overly.
Go ahead. What you gonna say?
No.
Sexual.
Go ahead and say.
No. It's dealing with our alphabet community. Some people are just overly overly expressive in other areas, because they've had to suppress feelings.
I get that
about certain things. So
excuse me.
So I think that I think as our generations go on, we try to now teach kids that it is okay to have emotions. I know at least we do. It's okay to have emotions. You're human. That's it. As you always say, we're made in the image of God. God has emotions too. He gets upset. He's happy. He's sad. He has all of the emotions that we have. He has as well. So to tell a man that, oh, you can't feel this way, you can't cry, you can only be strong, whatever. I think that's a false. That's false information to give somebody. He said that has been going on for a while. I think certain circumstances in history have made it that way. That of course, the man has had to try and suppress, but I think you're in a safe place and within your house and within your family. I think that in a sense should be thrown in a sense.
Well, I think all of this has a bearing on mental health, and we're talking about mental health here, and all of it plays a part on mental health. But the reasoning why, let's say this: if we're in a situation and I tell you, hey, right now, man, I need you to toughen the F up. Bottle everything, all these emotions, you're gonna have to bottle that mess up right now so we can get through this situation. And see what has happened is throughout history, they've been the soldier, they've been, you know what I'm saying, they had to be the provider, they've been the worker. So you had to, in order to survive that situation, these are the there's multiple ways to skin a cat, but this was the known tactic.
Right.
Bottle that mess up, toughen up, and get through it. What happened is we never corrected that, though. Right. That's not how you have to be as a human in general.
Right.
But in order to survive, you had to do that.
It's in those situations. That's what I'm saying. Those in certain situations, yes, you need to do that. But that is not how.
Right. But what I'm saying is, it was never corrected.
Right.
So we are at the point where we're teaching this over and over, and we're not in this situation any longer. Right. As a I'm not saying black like a race. I'm saying like as a species. We're not in this situation right now.
Right.
We don't have to act this way. You can express yourself. You can be emotional, and there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. There's nothing wrong with there's nothing wrong with these things, right? You don't have to be so tough, you know what I'm saying, to get through the situation. Now that's not the case for everybody, but the majority of us don't have to live like that anymore. Right. But that's not the case for everybody. But I will say this as well, though. We just saw that they enacted the draft. Right. Obviously, there's something going on, right? So we're amping up for something, right?
What do you mean the draft?
Say this: we're the selective service being drafted into the military. 18 to 26 is no longer voluntary; is forced now.
The House passed it.
It's not law yet, right?
Right. The House just passed it, saying that you're 18 to 26 and you're a male, that you can now be drafted into the military.
Oh, I need February to come up quick so I can be 27.
Well, but here's the thing, though, right? if we go to war, right, at any point in history, right, we're going to have to lean back into those tactics.
Right.
You can't have a bunch of people in war talking about, man, I need to express myself right now.
Right.
We're going to lose.
But
you need to protect home. What are you talking
honestly,
about?
I agree.
We're
At the same time, though, at the same time, Revelations in the Bible talks about what the end is going to look like. So we are, if you believe in the Bible and stuff like that, like you can see what is written. And as far as I know, from everything that I have seen personally, like I'm sure you guys can agree, since you guys have personally like Christianity for the most part, right? Everything that's been prophesied has been fulfilled. So everything that's coming up eventually, yeah, there's gonna be some war or whatever, but like as long as we have faith and things like that, like we'll be all right.
Yeah, in the end, you're gonna be all right anyway. At the end, you're gonna be all right anyway.
Yeah,
I don't think our country is based off of the mental health of our country as a whole. We are not equipped. We're
a bunch of
like it's supposed to
cases right now.
I know that's
look, and I can look. You can look at different areas. So socially, look at different areas right now, and you will see it. But kids can't take any punishment.
Mm-hmm.
You got the alphabet community running around here, literally off just mentally off their rocker, like it's crazy. Mm-hmm. Then you got look at these Trumpers running around here. Mm-hmm. You got these Trumpers running around here just delusional. I'm telling you, mentally we are like one spring is left. I'm telling you, it's one spring left in our brain. Like,
but I feel like as a Christian, I just feel like as you read the Bible, like you start to understand as you see things going on in real life, and then you read what's being said and stuff like that, you'd be like, oh damn, I'm in this certain time.
Yeah, it's inevitable.
So it's coming. What is said is coming. Mm-hmm. Period. Regardless of how you feel and what you believe is coming. Regardless of how you feel and what you believe is coming. I don't care what anybody says is coming.
Oh yeah.
You have two choices, left or right. Right.
I'm just saying, as much as we see it, other countries see it as well. So why not pose a threat or an attack while you down? I know now 20 or 30 years ago, our country, they were equipped to do something. They done some stuff. They were over there. It's been, my mom done went overseas and been a part of Desert Storm and all of that. All of my parents were a part of Desert Storm. So and that was your 20 to 30 years ago, right? So as a country, they were stronger then. As a country,
I think mentally they definitely were stronger.
Yeah.
And I think mentally they were stronger before that.
Right.
I think we have been degrading as far as mental capacity is concerned. Mm-hmm. I think we have slowly been degrading.
And these other countries have been amping their stuff up. They are ready. Mm-hmm. When I say they are ready, but they also, you notice that a lot of countries don't tolerate a lot of stuff that we tolerate here in the United States. They condemn and shut stuff down. You look, this is what it is. This is what our laws and rules are, and that's it.
Right.
And you either get with it or you suffer your consequences.
Right. There you go.
So,
I think it's totally different. You're absolutely correct. Mm-hmm. I think it's totally different.
Yep. So, like you said, the end times are coming. And it's about to.
I think you're right, but I wasn't, but not even. It's not that I think he's incorrect or anything. I think he's totally correct. I think the Bible has prophesied about this. I don't think that that's even a thought. I think it's a fact of where
Mhm.
we are.
Right.
But however, if we're talking, if you're talking on strictly just trying to keep the conversation within the vein of mental health, um, we are in trouble.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh yeah.
and I think, and like I said, I just be trying to stress to people, there's nothing wrong with therapy, especially the men. And that was my whole thing. I just try to stress the men that it's literally nothing wrong with therapy, like whatsoever, right? And you were just showing me the Inside Out clip of the man talking about if you've been through therapy. He was crying, right? He was saying that when he saw the new movie Inside Out 2, he was crying because when the whole thing with anxiety, but what stood out to me from what he said was actually that if you've been through some healing, if you've been through some therapy, if you've been through it, hearing that actually emboldens you or lets you know that, hey, you know what? A lot of men are starting to actually step out of that, hey, I gotta be so hard phase. And are seeking therapy, seeking some help, man.
Right.
And that's always a great thing, man.
Yeah.
But and let me try to let me go ahead and pivot. I want to pivot real quick for the sake of time, because I did want to correlate this conversation around Bad Boys has come out. Will Smith is obviously in the spotlight. I did want to center this conversation, at least for the moment right now, around Will Smith, Chris Rock, that whole situation, because obviously it's getting more. You know what I'm saying?
That was coming.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's definitely coming, because I'm looking at it from, okay, we always say we need to look at stuff from different views. My wife says that I don't, but I believe that I do. But hey, whatever. So if we're looking at things from different viewpoint, we've all seen the viewpoint of Will shouldn't have done that. He shouldn't have put his hand. I'm not gonna say hands. He put his hand on that man, right? And we were all like, "Hey, man, Will, you're wrong, and this is your punishment." And he's basically been punished ever since, right? He's still being punished to this day, right? Even though he's breaking box, all of that, he's still being punished, right? And so, what about Will? So it just occurred to me the other day. What about Will? And it really occurred to me because I was talking to my grandfather, and my grandfather had said something like, "Well, Will, he slapped that man," and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Are you talking about the same Will Smith that literally did everything perfectly? Literally did damn near everything that he did was perfectly and exactly. He made a promise about person in his rap. You know what I'm saying? His peers was making fun of him. He's still breaking records after record after record, and still being a role model for, man. Like I was telling my cousin the other day, that man literally raised me without even knowing me. He like an uncle that I never even really truly met. But this my point is,
he's a role model regardless.
Hold on real quick. Because he had a moment of emotion where he didn't control his emotions. It's okay for us to turn our backs on him. What about his mental health? How do you think that would bear on him? And how strong do you have to be to even still be standing to move forward right now when the whole world has turned its back on you?
Right. Well, I think
that makes sense. I was just gonna say this because of that guy Twitch. Like when you would have never thought, because he always had a smile on his face while he was dancing and stuff like that. And then what? 2 months ago, 3 months ago, 4 months ago, whatever, however long it was, like he took his life by himself. Like like he was I'm sure he was a big role model for a lot of people. Like I understand, and I'm glad you mentioned that, because like just as a man in general, because like just because he's been perfect for however long he's been in the industry, and now he makes one F up. Now he's the world's worst enemy. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, bro, like he's built something for himself and his family. Regardless of how him and his family feel about certain things, he's built something for him and his family. as a man, it just feels like, you know, as a man, you're supposed to be a leader, and as a leader, like, you know, he has led a lot of people. Not necessarily, you know, the social media is one thing, like that. I mean, it comes and goes. It is what it is. But like your family and the people that actually matter is the ones that you actually are the ones you're actually pursuing for, versus for the clout, or you know what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm like, well, wait a minute.
Sorry.
That's the refrigerator
The
over there.
refrigerator is making all kind of noise like
And I was like, what is that?
it's the ice maker, and it is doing its own thing. Like,
Yeah, I'm looking. I was
I'm
like,
like-
first I looked because I didn't. You know how you have a sound, and you ignore it because you have grown accustomed to it.
right.
So I'm looking at her and I'm like, what are you looking at? And then I realized, oh, yeah,
Just making all kind of noise. Like,
yeah, man.
don't you hear us recording?
What is that?
But yeah, man. I think you said that. I think you said that wonderfully, man. And I really do. I think you said that wonderfully, and that just goes back to my point, man. My thing is, what does unforgiveness do to a person? That's the question I want to put on the table, right? What does unforgiveness do to a man's mental health when he can't be forgiven?
Mhm.
Right? You always want the man to be strong and to take care of his family and all that. What happens when he can't be forgiven and he's begging for forgiveness and no one will give it to him? After he done raised his whole family, did everything correctly.
Mhm. Well, I think really box office numbers kind of showed whether it was really for him or people want to say it was for Martin or whoever. Box office showed that majority of the people have forgiven. Majority of the people understand that you are human. You made a mistake. Time went on. We have let it go. You are going to have those because they feel like social media gives everybody a voice that they're going, and then everybody jumps on bandwagons. You are going to have those that still say, oh no, he shouldn't have done. Because even my mom had asked, she was like, did y'all see the movie? Of course. Yeah, we saw it. We liked it. She was like, I wanted to not like it because of what he did. She was like, but it was an awesome movie. And I asked her, I said, well, how long does he take for a mistake?
How long are we going to continue to
She
do
was
this?
like, you're right.
But it's crazy. But a lot of this is, to me, surrounding Will, because I really wanted to take it away from, I just used that as an example. I really want to take it to a deeper conversation of literally what a man not being forgiven, what can that weigh on him that nobody will forgive him. But that we can go there, but hold on.
No, let's go there, because I was wanting to go kind of that.
I am
anyway,
going
just because
this,
men in general already lack when it comes to sympathy or being able to express themselves. So as soon as you, like, I would say, punch down on them, like, man, we automatically shut down. You're not gonna get what you want out of me because the way you come at me. I'm not, that might be an insecurity thing and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is the majority of men, like, that's how they think, because when they finally get somebody that they can actually be able to open up to, versus what they're used to, and then that person happens to like just hone down on them like everybody else would, like, boom, the man is gonna shut down. He's not gonna express himself like you want him to. There's a certain, I feel like when it comes to when it comes to relationships in general, when it comes to understanding somebody, you need to understand how that person responds and how they react to certain things. That's how you can understand how you should pursue how you speak to that person versus how you would somebody else, because that person is totally different from that other person. For example, let's just say if I was still with my ex, like, I can talk to her a certain way versus somebody like you, Ebony. If I was to talk to you, you guys have two different personalities. If I would talk to you a certain way, I can't go to her and talk to her the same way. I have to talk to her a certain way so she doesn't take me as me being, I would say, a butthole. You know what I'm saying? I might have to speak to her a certain way so that she understands, and she understands that fact that I'm trying to get her to understand versus me trying to be, I say, uptight. Versus you might take it complete opposite way. I might tell you straight up, you'd be like, okay, cool. Versus she be like, oh my God, like, why are you talking to me like that? Like, you know, just in general, like people are different. Like,
right.
I just feel like when you enter, I just feel, Justin, when you and I first met at Ruwan, we know now for sure we are two different people. Right?
Okay.
There's certain things that trigger you versus there's certain other things that trigger me. That, like, and to get you hyped up versus me, I've been like, bro, why is that hyping you up? Versus if something hypes me, you probably be like, bro, why are you hyped up? You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like there's a science to understanding the other person versus just being like, oh, we're just people. Like, no, like, yeah, we're all people, but we all have different personalities. Like, that's the whole point when God made us. Like, God never made us to be the same. He made us to be different.
For sure.
Own, unique, or special. When they say like people, special people, like, yeah, we're all special. Just because you have a certain skill versus I do, that doesn't make me less special than you. That just tells me that you're more skilled in a specific field versus me. But I'm guarantee you there's a different field that I'm more specialized versus you are. You know what I'm saying? That's where it comes to teamwork. You know, when we first started this podcast, when it came to community and stuff like that, that's the whole point of community. You have your specialties. I have my own specialties. If we collide those together, there's no telling what we can put together. If we put them together, that's I feel like that's so important for us to be so open-minded to other people and other different ideas versus our own, so that we can grow. If we really want to grow, we have to be open. We have to be open because we might think of something that's not necessarily works, but somebody else might come with an idea, but like, damn, that's something different. I ain't never thought about that. Let me try that. Boom, it worked. I'm not saying it's gonna happen every time, but I'm just saying, like, that's something different. Like, you didn't think about that, he did, but you just grab his idea, or vice versa. Like, I can give you an idea, you'd be like, man, this worked out great, awesome. How can we correlate together? How can we make like? And since we're in a world that's like it just seems like it's all about money. How can we make more money together as a team versus you versus me? How can we be collided together so where you make money, I make money, and then we can bring other people that when we grow, that's the whole point of business. Is to grow, right? So when we're at a certain point, we grow with certain people, and then when we want to get to a certain level, we go with other people who was already there, so that we can become where they're at. They can teach us things. It's teamwork. It's never singleness. It's teamwork. Always teamwork. As a manager in your job, it's teamwork. How do you run a business without a team? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you need somebody at quote unquote on the low end. That doesn't make them less valuable.
Yeah, for sure.
They're just as valuable as you are. Just because you play a different role doesn't make you more superior versus the other person.
For sure, man. I agree with you, man. You right, man. You hitting it, man. Let me but listen, I let you get the floor, man. I want to circle back to what I was talking about, man.
I know. I kind of like this left field that.
You okay, man? That was good, man. That's good stuff. But have you ever heard of that? People think with the collective and not individually, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the theory is when you're with a crowd, right? When you get with a like-minded crowd, everybody is going to form the same opinion, right? So individuals can't stand out. I mean, well, you can, but you have to have a very strong mind. And a lot of people don't like that. They don't like to be pointed out singularly. And that's what's happening right now in the Republican Party, right? So a single person is not strong enough to just say, now, but it's not strong enough to just say, hey, this is wrong. I don't know what the hell you guys are doing. So in the instance of Will Smith, right, like your mom saying that, what happens is she has formed, and it's not to say that it's not her true opinion, but she has formed an opinion based upon what everybody's saying, what the peanut gallery is saying. Everybody is saying that Will Smith that was horrible. And what was so hard about that? What was so horrible about
it? Wasn't right, regardless of the fact.
No, not the fact. I know where I think I know where you about to go. This stage and where he was at, and blah, blah, blah.
It's not even that. It's the fact of as we teach kids and as you talk growing up, you keep your hands to yourself.
That's correct.
We also teach it as we are actively trying to teach. You control your emotions. That could have been handled in a different manner.
I agree 100%.
So, for me, it has never been the whole is this is your platform and it's another black man and all of that. It's never been that. It's been just a simple fact of what you've learned as a child. You keep your hands to yourself.
Okay.
You control yourself. So that's where I find the fault in him. But I also feel, me, even because I've said this even about hold on, because I even said this about R. Kelly.
I have something to say about Will Smith too, but I'm gonna wait till you're done.
Okay. Well, I said it also about R. Kelly. It does not. Their mistake does not negate their talent. Their talent still stands. At the end of the day, Will Smith.
It's not the same.
He made a mistake.
This is not the same.
Well, no, not the same as art. It's not the same.
No, I'm not even talking about the crimes. I mean, the quote unquote crimes, right? And I'm not talking about R. Kelly. I'm talking about Will. But that was a crime. Technically, that was a crime
right,
too.
It was assault.
But,
technically,
right? But this is not the same though, because you're saying that their crime doesn't negate their talent. But in this situation, it's not a matter of anybody negating Will's talent. Like, they weren't trying to cancel that man movies. They just didn't want to see no more of his. They didn't want him to be able to work.
They didn't try to cancel his movies.
Not his old movies. Who was canceling his old movies? Everybody was watching.
No, but what she's saying is like
moving forward, yeah.
Like, listen.
I deny that man talent.
Listen, Bel Air, the new one. I've been missing out because they done kicked them out. I've been waiting on some new episodes and a new season. Like, I've been waiting on that joint.
That is still his talent.
That's moving forward. I'm talking about past. We were talking about R. Kelly. He wasn't locked up. They wanted to cancel that man past. Like it's a different conversation.
No, it's not a different conversation. It still involves their body of work. You think?
And speaking of R. Kelly, I got something to say too. Is he not deserving of love? Is he not deserving? Nobody talks about R. Kelly. Hold on, but speaking of R. Kelly, nobody talks about R. Kelly being molested. Nobody talks about R. Kelly being raped. It's as soon as you're on the other side of that, nobody cares. And the fact that he was a man, nobody cared anyway. And that's sad. We are failing our young men. We are failing men. We are failing our boys every single day. And all we want to talk about is this fake ass. Excuse me, that's the first time I cursed. All we want to talk about is this fake behind. Oh, I love the children. I love the kids. I love my daughters. What about your sons? What about the men running around here? Nobody cares when they get raped. Antoine Fisher, who's going to cry for that boy? Nobody wants to talk about that though.
But wait, just recently, the little boy, he's not a little boy, but he's an adult now. But the boy from Power, Tyreek, he was on somebody's live
and got sexually assaulted. And people were in the comments making the dumbest behind comments. That was sexual assault. I was just talking to my brother and his friend about this very thing. That has happened to me, I don't know how many times, by grown women. That has happened to me, I don't know how many times in my life. I was at Denny's, working as a waiter at Denny's. Girl was with her man, grabbed my dick right in front of her.
No, but a whole different conversation though. Because
but what about the mental? What I'm saying is that sexual assault. Yes or no?
Yes, it is. So like that's what I'm saying. That's a whole nother conversation. The reason why I say this because like when it happens to man, like we just shrug our shoulders and be like, oh, you.
But how does that weigh on your mental?
If it's the other way.
How does that weigh on your mental?
If it's the other way, like we we get thrown in court and divorced, all that shit like that. But let a man say, oh, a woman touched my dick when I didn't want it. They're gonna just shrug. The judge is gonna shrug his shoulder. He'd be like, oh, "Okay, you be all right."
I don't know if the judge, if you can take it that far, he might.
No, but I'm saying, like, if you think about it, if you just look at how things have been, and you look at how things are going now, like nobody's gonna give. They're gonna give.
They're gonna start to change though.
They're gonna care less.
But that goes
if it was the vice versa.
It goes back to what we were talking about in the beginning because that is what has been instilled.
Correct.
And
that's my point. What about the mental health? What about the mental health? That's my point. You're on track. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Go ahead. I'm sorry for finishing, but you were definitely on track. I'm sorry for interrupting you.
Oh, but what I'm saying is, we have to change. You have to change what's being taught. Like you start where you are now and change what's being taught because you also. Keep in mind, there are also guys out here that would congratulate a young man if something happened to him with somebody that was older.
Correct.
And it was almost like praise. Like, yeah, boy, you did that.
Yep.
Whatever.
Absolutely.
And that's incorrect.
Absolutely. Yep.
So you have to change what's being taught. The same way that we said before about a man has to be strong and you can't have emotion. You have to change what's being taught.
Correct.
So, yeah.
Nah, you hit it. I know you might have lost your footing for a second, but you definitely nailed it. We got to change what's being taught.
Mm-hmm.
We have to start respecting our young boys and our young men in general. Mm-hmm. We got to start respecting them. And that's not to say I'm not dismissing women or what's called, but sometimes you got to shine light on a specific topic. Right. Today we're talking about men. This month we're talking about men, right? and that's just like, and I'm about to go in left field. That's just like racism. Why are they talking? Why you got to have a Black History Month? Sometimes you got to shine a light on a specific topic. We talk about you every damn day of the year. We want just this month.
Right.
We want to talk about us. Right. That shouldn't be a problem. So I'm talking about men today. Men need to heal. Men need to stay together, seek therapy. There's nothing wrong with it whatsoever.
You know what? I feel like that's another thing that men in general we struggle with. It's like when it comes to talking to another man, we don't have the, I would say, the strength to talk to another man about how we actually feel inside. Oh, I'm good. We'll just give the response. Oh, I'm good. Yeah, we're good. How you doing? Good. Let's just drink a beer and then just drink it away. Like nothing got solved.
Yep. That's solving it.
Exactly. When we talked about at the beginning, when it comes to community and brotherhood and stuff like that, the whole point of that conversation was the fact that, like, when it comes men, I ain't gonna lie, I struggle with this big time. Like, when it comes to expressing myself, I struggle. I do my best. I am working on it. I'm still my best. But when it comes to expressing myself, like that is, I would tell you honestly, that is the one thing that I struggle with the most because the way I would blame the past, but no, that's how I was raised. But yeah, getting out of it is tough. But like where I'm at now versus where I was before,
Yeah,
man, I have grown to
that's awesome.
expressing things that I would never express.
That's awesome, man. Hey, but listen, you the point that you made, I got something for that too, man. While we're saying that men don't express themselves, and you were talking about community and a lack of wanting, we drink it away. On the flip side of that, we're not equipped to even engage in those conversations, right? So just like you can't express yourself, I can't hear you express yourself. You get what I'm saying? I'm not equipped to be able to help you. I don't know how to talk to you about that.
What? Okay.
So, go ahead.
Hey, are you saying that because you saying that because you don't know how to express yourself versus because you don't know how to express yourself, you don't know how to give the advice
No,
to somebody
I'm
else?
because you got one mouth and two ears.
Right.
As much as you can talk, you can double time listen. If we haven't been taught to talk, then we damn sure haven't been taught to listen. Are you following what I'm saying? I'm not equipped. If we haven't taught our children to even talk about their emotions, we damn sure ain't teach them to listen to other people and have a conversation about it.
I agree, but I feel like even with that being said, because of with us and stuff like that, I feel like as men, I feel like just even if let's just say we got a group of guys, this is a buddy of our buddies and stuff like that. Let's say me and you and me and you, right? We got our buddies together and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Everybody goes one by one to expressing themselves. Ain't nobody know how to respond, right? But the fact everybody went around and responded, everybody has time to think. Every man has time to think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're right. We don't know if we don't know how to talk. Of course, we don't know how to listen. Even though we might know how to listen, we don't know how to respond after listening. We can listen, but we don't know how to respond to that person.
That's my.
We have a problem listening. I feel like we have a problem responding to what we listen to.
But you got a revelation. Go ahead. I say he getting a revelation. He understanding now. I see as he talking, he's understanding fully what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
You know. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I just feel like I guess the way you put it, I was like, oh, man, maybe I broke it down just a little bit, but like, yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, well, however you
like, I understand where you coming from. Like just as men, like when we express ourselves, yeah, we don't necessarily have another listening ear. Most of the time, I won't say all the time, most of the time. But like, if we at least get the chance to at least just get it out to our, let's just say our brothers and stuff like that, our community of men, like that's a start. even if the other man can't even give you a response to be like, man, you should do this versus that.
Yeah,
they have an idea in their mind of what you're going through, and then they can compare what they're going through. Like, for example, me and you, let's say you was expressed to 20 men, and me included. I know how you feel. Let's say I express myself in front of everybody. You know how I feel now, even though we ain't got nothing to say to each other at the time. But it makes you think, and it makes me think. But what I'm going through, what I got going on, it makes you think of what you got going on and what you're doing. And then eventually, even though it should be spontaneous, eventually you and I will have a conversation about it.
mm-hmm.
Hey, I remember you mentioned this. Did you ever happen to come about something to go, to help you out, whatever? If I didn't, let's just say if I didn't, let's say you had the courage to give me some type of advice, whether it helped or not. You gave me something as a man, I would say as a man, as a brotherhood, and since we're talking about community, as a brotherhood, as a brother, you gave me advice, whether it helped me or not. You gave me advice. Vice versa. If I gave you advice, whether it helped or not, I gave you something, gave you something to think about. Versus nothing, just expressing yourself and feeling like you're just in a lost in a cloud, just lost. And
Sure.
I feel like personally, between gender, men and females, they can express to each other and have a full blown conversation. By the time they get home to their man, they already got everything figured. They good. They can come to you. They can come to you good. They already talk to their friends. They got everything that they need to get out. Versus men,
That's what I'm saying. These are
I feel
generalized.
I feel like man, we should be able to have those type of conversations. Not saying it's just like them, but be able to have those conversations with other men and express ourselves so that we can get those advice, so that we can get the help from other people or other men to give us I would say the extra push. Like, man, it's to say you're lacking on this area, you're stressing out about this little area, and someone just gives you something so simple. It might seem simple, but to you it's such a big deal. It's like, damn, and you just gave me like a diamond piece to becoming becoming this person. What I mean, high level. You know what I'm saying? Versus, I don't know. You still going with this?
Oh, I was just gonna say we are running out of time and light. As you can see, we're getting
dark.
Sorry. I'm about to say, dang, y'all get a little dark over it.
Yeah, we gonna have to wrap this up, man. Hey, yo, as always, man, I appreciate everybody who joined the podcast today, man. Be sure to hit that like button. Be sure to subscribe, man. Check out. We got some good stuff going on the movie channel as well. You can see that on our channel in the feature channel section, man. We out.
See y'all.